But there's also, amongst societies in general, there is a fear that, AI is going to take my job. So where do you sit on that narrative?
Yes, I agree. What I keep on telling people is that if you remain on the consumer side of AI, you are going to be in trouble because you are the product.
Yeah.
If you really want to survive the AI wave, you need to be a producer of AI. Use AI to do service which somebody else will consume.
Hello and welcome to the Live, Work and Play in Dubai podcast. My name is Amandeep and today we're going to dive into some of the industries shaping Dubai's future, from innovation and finance to sustainability and culture. Join us as we uncover insights from industry experts, visionaries and business leaders who are driving Dubai's growth. Today I have with me Dr. Bhaskar Dasgupta. He is an academic. He has 3 PhDs in various backgrounds. He is an investor. He works closely with SMEs. He has a keen eye for digital transformation. He runs a family office in Dubai. He essentially has a foot in every industry that is thriving in Dubai right now. And so I cannot think of a more perfect person who can help with insights on these key industries. So Dr. Bhaskar, what an honor to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
So I've barely touched the tip of the iceberg introducing you. So I would love to hear from you, from your very diverse and almost awe-inspiring background. What have been some of the more exciting things for you and what finally brought you to Dubai?
So the exciting things would be, I grew up in India. There the exciting things was in Bhopal, so a small town boy. That's why Dubai scares me. But I grew up with the British Library there.
Right.
It was used to be called as British Council Library, and that kind of opened up the world to me. And then from there, I went to Indore, and from there, I went to England. And I tried to retire when I was 43. That happy state lasted for about 4 weeks before my lady wife, long-suffering lady wife, and 2 cost centers shoved me out of the house, saying I was noisy, I was bothersome, I was tiresome, I was smelly, all kinds of things. So then I went and worked for the British government in a few roles. And after that, came down to the UAE to work for a regulator to develop the financial free trade zone. And now for 4 years, I'm trying semi-retirement.
But I'm very curious to hear about your background in the PhD that you did in financial modeling and AI, which was done in the 1990s. So you've, of course, seen the evolution of artificial intelligence from then until now. So what does that look like? Of course, it's going to be varied, and this is probably going to be a very broad question for you. But just in terms of what that evolution has looked like for you and how you find that Dubai is sort of equipped to now embrace that position of artificial intelligence.
So if I take the longer term perspective of how AI has developed, AI has been developing actually from the theoretical basis going back to the 1950s. So what I did in 1990 was quite advanced. And since then, quite a lot of work has been done, although the underlying things that I did are still being used. So these are like neural networks or coherent maps or genetic algorithms, they're still being used. But what has actually happened over the last 3-4 years are 2 things. The first and foremost thing that has happened is that you have the availability of computing resources. And that's an area where I'm personally investing in. But when you see the data centers and CPUs and GPUs that are available, that has actually allowed AI to really come into its own. But what will you do with all that power? When I did AI, I was dealing with numbers, with data. But I had learning algorithms, I was having mutations, I was having systems that were non-linear parametric models. Now you are using language. And I think that is what really, really distinguishes intelligence. So underlying AI models are there, computing power is there. What Dubai has are literally, I would say, the hustling capability. So people keep on coming up with new ideas, new business models. I was talking to somebody yesterday about one of my portfolio companies about hiring. And I was just saying that I think the trend of hiring going forward will less be people looking for jobs, but people setting up companies. So you can literally set up a company with almost anything, with very little outlay and very little people. So that is what I think Dubai provides. It provides you with the market space. It provides you with that philosophy of hustle. The regulators are very, very happy with this. It doesn't need that much amount of investment to set up an AI-enabled business, but there is money here to invest. So the ecosystem is very good for AI. And given the fact that you got a multiplicity of free trade zones, financial zones, English common law, local common law, connectivity is great. People love to visit over here. You slap on your innovative idea and then you include an AI layer, which is going to make the data jump up and down and dance. And previously, you would have had to have lots of investment, people, processes, office space, all these things. You don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
So a single person can literally end up doing what previously a business would have taken maybe 10 people and maybe 3 years to get the money. Now, within a period of about a week, you can get the equivalent business up. So what the government has done is to provide data.
Right.
Second thing that they have done is that they have given the legal framework. So you can go to, for example, the Education Free Trade Zone or JAFSA or DIFC. So any of the AI models, and these are innovative models, the regulatory framework is quite flexible to incorporate those interesting new business models.
Yeah.
So between these two, what the government has done is very happy.
Right. So what I understand is that data is king and
Yes, yeah.
numbers never lie.
Well, you have to be careful about what AI produces.
Yeah.
You still have to check.
Yeah, of course.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that previously you would have had to hire 2 business analysts, somebody to code systems,
Yeah.
somebody to go out and sell, somebody to come up with what price. All that stuff is now AI because the underlying data is available and somebody to crunch it.
Yeah.
If you just wanted to reach out through a podcast or through an automated email or through social media or video, that entire value chain from ideation to data to analysis to pricing to production, everything can be automated via AI to a large extent.
Right.
And people want it.
But there's also, amongst society, or, societies in general, there is a fear that, AI is going to take my job. So where do you sit on that narrative?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
AI will take your job.
Yeah.
Look, this is what happens if I put my historian hat on. Every time technological changes have happened, jobs have been lost.
Yeah.
So if we go back to, for example, the Archimedes screw, which raised water from a lower level to a higher level to do irrigation, that removed the people who were carrying buckets.
Yeah.
Right. If I look at what happened in the first industrial revolution in the north of England, jobs were lost.
Yeah.
What I keep on telling people is that if you remain on the consumer side of AI, you are going to be in trouble because you are the product.
Yeah.
If you really want to survive the AI wave, you need to be a producer of AI. Use AI to do service which somebody else will consume.
Yeah.
So jobs will definitely be lost. Quite a lot of bits of the jobs will go away. Some of the pretty hardcore jobs will absolutely disappear, like teaching.
Yeah.
They will go away. So, but then that is welcome to capitalism.
Yeah.
Things get destroyed, things get reborn. So you have to be agile, mobile, and hostile to any kinds of inertia.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that I think a lot of people are now embracing as well. Dubai provides such an exciting place to have that kind of side hustle possibility. So I rarely meet people who have just the one thing going for them. There's always, you are a prime example for that. You've got your foot across multiple industries. So definitely, you're the right person to give that advice as well. So we've spoken about businesses and being on the producer side of AI. So I'm very curious to hear about some of the more innovative, some of the more exciting ideas that these businesses have come up with in Dubai. So what are some of the kind of exciting opportunities that you are witnessing?
First of all, I generally invest in the founder.
Right.
And this, in a way, is my play money. People who invest in startups have to have very thick skin because a substantial amount of startups will fail.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I have invested in for Dubai firms are people who are coming up with add-ons to shop fronts, electronic shop fronts, to make it easier for them to do analysis of customers. So that is one. Then I'm looking around and seeing that the cost of living is going up.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've invested in is a repair company.
Right.
People are previously used to use and throw, but inflation is increasing, insecurity of salaries and earnings has increased, so people will tend to repair things. So I said, okay, I'm going to try that. I've invested in a family office firm because families are coming over here.
Yeah.
There's the biryani company. There's another company which does chutneys. Right.
Yeah.
Then the latest portfolio that I have kicked off last year has been in the health tech side.
Right.
So longevity, oncology, fetal medicine. One of the firms that I'm talking about is looking at how to help menopausal women. It's a tough life for these people.
Yeah.
So there are quite a lot of firms around here that are very, very interesting.
That's very interesting. You've mentioned you invest in founders. How do you find the attitudes amongst these founders towards, how welcoming Dubai may be, or how they find navigating the Dubai business landscape, if they feel like there's enough being done in terms of providing that ecosystem of, incubators, accelerators, of funding? How do you perceive that amongst founders?
It's a perfect place.
Yeah.
It is a perfect place. The number one thing that startups need is a market. Number one.
Yeah.
If you can showcase that you have got revenues, everything else flows. You get the good staff, you get the backing, you get office space, you get visibility, everything. And here, look at the number of people. We are sitting around here, we are looking at actually a bit of a light traffic, which surprises me. Yeah. But tall buildings, and I can see property, I can see entertainment, I can see media, I can see education, I can see shipping, I can see water.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
There's a golf club in my line of sight as well.
Well, I mean, I don't play golf, so...
Yeah, there's something for
Sports.
everyone. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is there is a market.
Yeah.
One of my firms actually is a facilities management company, and they provide upscale facilities management. And I never realized there are so many instruments to measure how dirty your house is. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
And she's amazing. She will look after, I'm looking at the boats that are moved in the marina, and she looks after high-end houses, hospitals and clinics and big boats and high-end houses. There is a market for that.
Yeah.
So pretty much anything that you can think about, you will get it in Dubai or in the wider UAE. Great place to be in.
Are there any specific examples of government initiatives that you can think of that support these companies and these founders, and anything specific for Indian business founders as well?
This is already the fifth Indian city. So, I would say Dubai was built substantially off the back of Indians who've been working here since the 70s.
Yeah.
So look, I mean, again, slight philosophical question and possibly going back to political theory. The role of a government, number one, is to make sure that the citizens and residents are safe.
Yeah.
One of the safest cities in the world, number one. Number two, you need to ensure that it's a good place to live. It's a great place to live.
Yeah.
Right. Third thing is you should be able to do economic activity easily.
Check.
It's great.
Yeah.
Do you have financials? Yes. Do you have availability of capital? Yes. Do you have availability of talent? Yes. Customers? Yes. How did all this happen? The government did it.
Yeah.
Okay. The invention, or not invention, but the setup of all the various free trade zones and the ecosystem that is built in has been a brilliant thing. So in a particular location, you've got all the universities. In a particular location, you've got all the healthcare. In a particular location, you've got the financial firms. That creates an ecosystem.
Yeah.
Ecosystem where people can work, talk, live, learn, eat, develop, enhance, grow, whatever verb you might think of. You were talking about why is it attractive for Indians. Let's talk about Indian women. To be honest with you, the vast majority of my investments go to women CEOs. I anytime prefer to work with a women CEO than ugly-ass men. They're boring.
And what is it specifically about female founders that draws you to their work?
I think the key thing is that they are very good in being my complement. I'm the big picture guy. I open doors. I make things happen. But somebody needs to be the detail-oriented person, somebody who says no. And whilst I keep on pushing, they keep on saying, but hold on a second, we need to fix this, fix this, fix this. So the combination works very, very well.
Yeah.
Plus, I think they are more diligent. They are more capable of execution. Perhaps one of the downsides is they are a bit more insecure than men. So that's where my perhaps pathologically high level of optimism comes into averaging that out.
Yeah.
But I love working with women, especially Indian women. They come over here and they blossom.
That is wonderful to hear. I'm sure, any female listeners that we have tuning in, this must be very encouraging to hear as well.
Absolutely.
So, thank you for that faith.
Totally. I get this. And this is a great place for you to work.
Yeah, definitely. So, you briefly mentioned that cost of living is increasing. We've spoken about how there is a little bit of uncertainty around the continuity of salaries and that kind of thing. What are some other challenges that you see founders or SMEs facing as they try to navigate the Dubai landscape?
Look, the vast majority of challenges that startups will face, you will face everywhere. The 19-20 difference.
Yeah.
Over here, actually, you are going to face less number of issues. So if you wanted to set up some kind of an educational startup or a medical startup, you are in one place. And everything is literally, I wouldn't say walking distance. Nobody walks here, which is the reason why I'm putting on weight. But it's commutable distance.
Yeah.
As a startup location, this is actually much better than quite a lot of other locations around the world. And believe you me, I've seen them, and I've invested in firms ranging from Brazil to Israel to Europe to, of course, Asia. What are some of the issues? Again, availability of capital, customer acquisition. That is tough. The flip side of this being a hustler's place, competition is fierce.
Yeah.
Just don't think that you have come up with an idea and you are the bee's knees and next thing to sliced bread. Most likely somebody else has thought about it. There's quite a lot of Me Too things that happen here as well. These are Me Too models. Somebody has invented a model in the US. You try and do, I'm the Uber of Middle East. Yay. No,
Yeah.
It's not innovative. It could work, but there's that problem.
And that diversity of residents over here, I suppose that adds on to that.
It helps.
To that innovation as well. This already exists in the US. What other thing can you give me?
You actually pointed out a very important thing. Previously, and remember I talked to you about the rate of change, which is increasing very, very fast. Previously, you would start off with one market, develop it, and then go to the next market.
Yeah.
The biggest advantage of Dubai is you start up, and because of the sheer number of nationalities, you start going global immediately. So it's very few places that can actually match Dubai as a place for setting up a business and running it properly.
So let's talk a little bit about your family office venture as well, because we've been seeing, especially since COVID, that a lot of wealth is moving into Dubai. Financial services as an industry in the UAE has been contributing quite a lot to the non-oil GDP of the country as well. I suppose the first thing that I would like to hear from you is, why do you think wealth is moving into Dubai? Aside from the Russia-Ukraine war, COVID was unstable or destabilized quite a large part of the world. What other things do you think have aided this movement of wealth into Dubai? And what are some of the investment patterns that you are seeing amongst family offices?
So you'll have to unpack family wealth a bit. So first is the multi-generational wealth that is there.
Yeah.
So whether you're talking about the royal families or the European families or the American families, you're talking about the third or fourth generation. For them, Dubai is just one another jurisdiction where they have a presence.
Right.
So they might be coming over here, so they might have a flat here or a house here. They might have some businesses. That's one example. Second example are people who are moving jurisdictions, like you said about the war, or people who are moving out of India. And that might be the first generation, but they're basically saying one of my sons or one of my brothers is going to go and set up in Dubai. So that's the second one. And the third type of family wealth is what I would call as where I fall in, self-generated first generation suddenly finds that your life has suddenly become very, very complicated. I mean, when I started, I was a refugee son, didn't have enough money to eat. But then now I have properties in so many places, so many businesses. It's become real rat's nest. So, and I decided to set up the family office here. Now, to answer your question, why people are coming over here are for exactly the same reasons that I talked. It's a good place for the startups to be.
Yeah.
It's safe. It's well connected. I can literally get anything delivered home.
Yeah.
Traffic notwithstanding, it's a great place to live and work.
Yeah.
And for me to run a global business, this is brilliant. It straddles Asia, which is the fastest growing piece.
Yeah.
It straddles the global south, which is where the future demographic strength is going to come. Africa is next door. I have overlap between Europe and a bit of US. So it's a great place to do business. And to answer your last question about what are the investment trends, I would have had a much more certain answer to you till December, but the recent U.S. elections and things after that have made the investment allocation decision much more volatile.
Right.
But new pieces are popping up. So health tech is definitely coming up. Food tech is definitely coming up. Defense is definitely coming up. Logistics is coming up hugely. You were talking about India. If you look at the India-Europe trade corridor, which is going to start from, let's say, the west coast of India to Jebel Ali, and from here on Etihad Rail to Saudi, to Jordan, through Israel. Did you know, excepting for a 70-kilometer long stretch, the entire corridor is in place?
Right. So it's not brand new at all.
No. So I am now investing in logistics firms and e-commerce firms and trade finance firms, which will take advantage of this. So these are the new areas that family offices are investing. Family offices are also, of course, the older ones are always there. Real estate is there, e-commerce is there, fintech is there. But these are new places that are starting to come in. This place is becoming a hotbed for trading. Hedge funds are moving down here. Commodity firms are moving down here at the rate of knots.
Yeah. I think the growth of the DIFC in the last year alone in hedge funds has been quite remarkable. And now there's a specific ecosystem designed for hedge funds within the DIFC as well. So you're quite right. Yeah.
Yes.
We've spoken about the rise of hedge funds over here. We've spoken about investment patterns. Do you find, and I'm sure that it's going to be similar to your answer to the SMEs as well, but do you find that there are any challenges that family offices face in terms of either regulation or just functioning in a smooth fashion?
No, I think for family offices, DIFC and onshore Dubai have got excellent regulatory frameworks at different levels of complexity depending upon what families want. One thing that I realized that every family is different. And they evolve.
Yeah.
So you need a very flexible ecosystem where you can set up and manage your family office. So whether you're talking about going and setting it up in Medan, or you're talking about setting up in DWTC, or you want to set up in DIFC or DMCC, there are different strokes for different people. And I have yet to find out anybody who says that I actually am having difficulty in opening up my family office.
Right. So this is the part that I've been most curious about, the living and playing aspect of Dubai. You've got a PhD in food history, which I think is just the most unique topic that I have ever heard of. So how do you feel Dubai helps you to maybe delve a little bit deeper into that, into kind of your love for food, or the history of food, where cultures clash together. So there's diversity in the kind of food that we get here. So I'm very curious to hear how that plays into your interest.
But if you wanted to understand culture, you do it through food. So when people say, "Are you a foodie?" I said, "No, I'm a food historian." Yeah. Food is a way of me to understand cultures. And that crosses over to my professional life. For example, I keep on saying a meeting without food should be an email.
Yeah.
Correct. I don't want to waste my meeting time. Let's talk about food.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I think this is a great place, whether you're talking about going to Burdubai or JLT or pretty much any place. You have a bewildering array of restaurants. Well, believe you me, I have invested in restaurants. That is not one place I would invest in. I invest in food logistics, but not in restaurants. They have a short shelf life, if you again excuse the pun.
Yeah, that is actually a very, very interesting insight. And what you mentioned about restaurants keep popping up. I think that is first of all, it sounds like a very first world problem, but it's a problem that I also face quite a lot because I had a rule that if I'm going out to eat, then I'm not going to go to the same place twice because there's no point. If you live in a place like Dubai, there's absolutely zero point in repeating same, restaurants. And just now as well, I was speaking to a colleague who was here and she said, I've got a lunch meeting to go to. I don't know where to go. And I had 3 or 4 suggestions off the top of my head, just within 500 meters. So absolutely right. There's nothing quite like here when it comes to, various price points, various cuisines. So I'm glad that you get to explore this side of your interest as well. It's very interesting to hear that, your business interests, your side hustle interests and your food history interest, all of them can coexist in a place like Dubai. So thank you so much for the wonderful insights that you've given us. I'm sure our listeners who are either interested in setting up a small business here with, ambitions, female founders especially, are going to be so happy to hear that there is support, there's funding, there's a brilliant ecosystem that exists in Dubai. So massive thanks to you for your insights. And that is a wrap for this episode of Live, Work and Play in Dubai. If you've enjoyed what you heard, then please do give us a follow, share, and stay tuned for more for business and innovation in Dubai. See you next time.